Okay, so first you want to start off with primer. I'm using the PoreFessional just because it's my favorite. And I'm also going to be starting off with my MAC Matchmaster Foundation, and I use the color 7.0. And so then I take a really small stippling brush and I kind of stipple this all over my face to begin with. I don't know what I'm looking at right now, but I stipple it all over my face with this little brush, and then once I feel like I've kind of spread the product around as evenly as I can, then I start kind of buffing it in small little circles all over my face. And I really take my time and go over areas a bunch of times because I really want to work this foundation in so that it looks as skin-like as it possibly can. So the longer you blend your foundation onto your skin, if it's a good foundation, it'll melt into the skin a little bit more and look way more natural than if you were to just kind of spackle it on and things like that. So I really take my time to work it into the skin and work it into my hairline. Then I take a flat top brush and I kind of just go all over, make sure there's no streaks, and there's no extra product on this brush whatsoever. So this is just to make sure that everything is nice and even still, because you want the foundation to look really natural. Next I'm going to take my concealer. This is the Studio Finish concealer in the color NC45. Mine's super ratchet and beat up. But I take a really small brush and apply this over any spots I have or any blemishes. I like using this small brush because I can really only put concealer on where I need it instead of having a huge light splotch. And then I take this like around my nose as well because I get really red around there. And then I'll even take this same brush and clean up my eyebrows. I've been really liking to do that after I've applied my foundation because I find that it blends a lot easier. This is my Revlon Nearly Naked Very Loved powder, and I'm in the color 40 for this powder. It's a really finely milled product. I really enjoy this powder because it doesn't make me look cakey when I set my makeup. I like to set my foundation as soon as the actual foundation sets, so once it's not tacky anymore, I like to go ahead and powder it just so that my skin does not get any wrong ideas. I need you to be matte, so I definitely just go over with a light layer of this powder. Then I take my LA Girl Pro Conceal in Cool Tan, and I use this to highlight my face. So I'll apply it under my eyes and on my forehead, down my nose, on my cupid's bow, and my chin, and I blend it all in with a flat foundation brush just because I found that patting with this brush is a whole lot easier to blend it into the skin, and I don't lose or move around the product to where it's just not there anymore, but it still looks really blended, and it takes half the time it would take to use like my finger or something like that. Highlighting though, I really like to make it a point to place product exactly where I want to bring light and attention. So because I have a really round face and a pretty small forehead, I like to elongate my head by applying concealer down the center of my face to make that look, to bring more attention to that, so that it will in essence elongate my face shape. So you'll want to apply highlighter and of course contour to shape your own face. So right now what I'm going to be doing is just blending out this concealer, but I want to keep it pretty close to where I applied it because that's exactly where I want all of the attention, and all of these are all the areas I want to bring forward to create that illusion of a longer head, so to speak, which is weird sounding, but that's exactly what I'm doing, and I'm making the grossest face ever right now. Ignore me. I'm just being weird. I'm going to be setting my face, I love this Color Wheel Mosaic powder from NYX. I used bronze pink, and I find that I got this shade and I really thought that it was going to be like a bronzer, but it's actually super light, and it has like pink and yellow and a little bit of colors that are like slightly lighter than my skin tone, so it really works to set my concealer, and it doesn't go cakey or creasy, but it really keeps those areas highlighted, and I really enjoy this product for that. So you'll want to use something either translucent or lighter than your skin tone to keep your highlight as prominent as it was with the concealer. So you can of course use, you know, your regular face powder, but it won't be as bright anymore. And now taking my Ulta Contour Kit, I'm going to take this bronzer shade, which is on the bottom left side, and it's really, it's only maybe like 2 shades darker than my skin tone, but it adds subtle definition and subtle shape. So if I were going for something a little bit more natural, then I would just stop with the bronzer to add definition to my face, because I'm obviously already brown, so I don't need to add like a tan to me, so to speak. This is more to make my face look less flat. So I'm evening out both sides and applying this with a really fluffy brush so that I don't apply too much product too quickly. And you'll notice that I don't go on the top of my forehead, obviously, because there's pretty much no such thing as the top of my forehead. The top of my forehead is my whole forehead. So I just kind of go on the sides, and that's going to also work to elongate that shape as well, so it makes it look like that area is bigger. And I take it down the sides of my nose and around my jawline as well. Going back to the contour kit, I'm going to take the middle right shade, which is now about 5-6 shades darker than my skin tone, in a much smaller brush, and I'm going to work on contouring my face. So I have natural hollows where my cheeks are already, so I follow that for my cheek contour, and I'm going to take it up the sides of my hairline, so to speak. I don't even know what you would really even call that area, because it's not a temple for me. There's like, whatever, my hairline's weird, but I take it up the sides of my face just to kind of enhance the highlight there, because it makes it look like it's pulled out farther, it makes my cheekbones look higher. And then I go back on my forehead where I had the bronzer, and I just apply the contour on the sides, and then I take some contour around my jaw again to really amp up that bronzer and add a little more definition to it. And then I go down the sides of my nose. I don't do super precise nose contour because I don't have to. My nose doesn't really need all that. It looks defined just fine using a large brush, and it's not really that muddy because this powder is not super saturated with color. And now back into my highlight, which is from the Ulta Contour Kit. It's the gold shade. I use a dual fiber brush and apply this to the high points on my face. I take it on my cheekbone, up around into my brow bone, add some shine there. This highlight isn't super like disco ball, so I can, you know, I don't have to be too precise with it. And then once I've done my cheekbones and like through my brow, then what I'll do is I'll take some of the powder down the bridge of my nose, on my forehead, my chin, cupid's bow, every place that I put highlighting products to begin with. And this is going to be like the super defining product for my highlight, just like the contour was a super defining product for my like bronzer situation. So once I've put on the highlight though, I do go in with the brush I use to set my foundation, and I blend this out so that it doesn't look too stark. That's why I'm like all up in the camera, because I'm looking for it. Awkward. Okay, so now moving on to blush. If I'm wearing blush, it's probably Raizin from MAC, which is like my favorite shade. It's just so flattering on my skin tone. I'll apply this to the apples of my cheeks, and I'll bring it back into my contour, but I don't take it all the way up to like my temples. I try to keep it just mostly at my cheekbones, or at the apples of my cheeks. I don't take it up that high. And then I'll take the brush I use to highlight, and I'll blend out the top of my blush, and then I'll go in with the brush I set my face with and blend that out. That is such a tongue twister, for real. That is it for my foundation routine. I really hope that you guys enjoyed and find this very helpful. If you did, please give me a like, and I'll see you guys in the next video. All right, bye-bye.